Everybody. So today we're going to be working on a little project that I've been thinking about for a little while. So it shouldn't take us too long to do this. This is these are my measurements of my husband's Jeep Wrangler floorboards. When he purchased it, he got it secondhand, and it did not come with the rugs on either side. So what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to be making a pattern, and we're also going to be hopefully sewing the pieces together all in one go. So we'll see how that goes. But first off, we need to make a pattern. You can kind of see here I've already got most of the numbers written up. So we're going to go ahead and make a pattern for that. I've already picked out my fabric out of my collection. I'm going to make it so you can flip these over if you want. So this doesn't look like it belongs in this. That's because it's more of a centerpiece to add a little bit of body to this. This is actually an outdoor fabric. Just a piece of scrap that I have in my collection, and it should be wide enough to just go right down the middle, and it'll help prevent things soaking straight through because it's a good outdoor fabric, and it'll just last longer, take water better, and damage over time. This is another fabric that is just heavy duty. It's got a little bit of stretch to it, but it matches the color scheme in mind. He has a black Jeep, and we are putting red accents on it. So there's that, and also because I have no idea where I would use this any other place. I don't have any kids currently, and yeah, the red matches, and I think it'll be funny. So yeah, we're gonna do that. So that's our fabric for today. That's what we're gonna be working with. But first we need to make a pattern. In order to make a pattern, we need paper. I hoard paper from moving stuff. This is the kind of paper you get from a store when they wrap up your fragile items. I suspect that these should, in theory, be long enough. Maybe not quite long enough. Let's see. This is 18 inches for the ruler, and my longest piece, the length is 24 inches on the pieces, so I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use 2 pieces of paper here. Now, if you don't have the wrapping paper, you know, for making a pattern, the paper that you can get for wrapping presents, that stuff, wrapping paper, that works well too. And you don't have to worry about having to tape it together. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to tape this together, and then we're going to use the measurements that I took from the patterns. The driver's side and the passenger side both have different measurements, ever so slightly. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alrighty. So we have our ruler. We have the measurements I took. We're going to go ahead and start with the driver's side, because if I only get one done today, I'd like it to be the driver's side. It's also a lot simpler because the sizing doesn't change too much from the front to back, whereas the passenger side actually changes quite a bit. So first off, I need something that's longer than 18 inches. I need 2 feet. There it is. so this is the driver's side. We're going to go ahead and label that right now. And we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing for the passenger side. But you guys saw me how I did it the first time. I'm not going to show you how to do it the second time. You'll have to come back and check in on that when I'm done. Alrighty, well I got that second pattern made up now. It looks pretty similar to the first pattern, except it's got a little bit slightly more aggressive dip here in the pattern, since this goes from 15 to 12 inches. So that's really the only big difference between the two patterns there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out the center pieces first. Since this is the middle piece that I want to have sandwiched between the two layers of fabric, just to make it a little bit thicker, a little bit sturdier, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out first, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so we've got the two center pieces cut out here, and in this case we're cutting it out directly to the edge of the paper. For our next cuts, both our blue and our red here, so I spend the next few seconds trying to explain the term seam allowance, because for some reason that word is escaping me and I can't remember it at all. The reason we're doing that is because we do need some space to sew, because what we're going to do is we're going to sew this stuff together, then we're going to turn it inside out. Only one side will not get sewn together the same way, and I'll probably make it maybe the toe side. That way the stitching that I use to hold it together is hidden closer to the front. I don't know. We shall see. But we're going to go ahead and cut up these so that we'll have one of these and one of these for each of the patterns. Alrighty, so we got them all cut out now. You can see on the fabric here that there is a definite size difference between this one and these other two, and again that's because we need seam allowance. Seam allowance. And creating our sandwich. So speaking of our sandwich, I have decided that we are going to leave the toe section undone, so the front end section. And what I'm going to do is it's all going to kind of be sewed together in one big packet, and then I'm going to flip it inside out, or right side out in this case. And then we will go ahead and iron it flat before sewing it all up. So what I've done here is we've got the right sides together because we are doing the inside out, turn your sock right side out system. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Alrighty, so we've got this already sewed up, and I'm going to go ahead and flip it right side out. Now this doesn't have to be completely attached because it's just the middle piece. It's just attached wherever it ended up overlapping. So we've got a good amount right here attached, and then we've got some on the corners here that's attached. But otherwise I'm not too worried about it staying attached. So now you can see we'll just flip it right side out and we'll give it a good iron. Then once we've got this all ironed out, we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to fold this end in on itself like so. Hang on. There we go. Like so, and make a pretty little sandwich, and we're just going to go ahead and do a stitch right across the top there. So that's what we're going to do with that. And then I'm thinking I'm probably going to also, I'm using the zigzag stitch just because it covers a lot of ground and secures everything in place. So I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to make some lines back and forth to kind of quilt it in place and give it a little bit more structure. And then these will be almost done. We still have to make the holes for the hooks where they will get stuck in place. but I kind of want to wait to do that. I'll do it before I do the quilting, but after I've ironed and sewed this bit up. So we'll get back to that in a minute. Alrighty. So we've got it all stitched up. It's been turned right side out, and we have ironed it and closed off the narrow end. So now what I've gone and done is I've taken it. I've got all the little bits. I'm going to have to roll that off. But I've gone and taken the pattern that I made originally and marked up where the hole is supposed to be. So the next step is going to be cutting open a hole just big enough to slip the little notch in there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of treat this like a buttonhole. I'm going to keep with my zigzagging. I'm only going to cut it open just enough to allow for that hook to fit through, and we're just going to treat it like a buttonhole, and we're going to zigzag all over the place. So we've got it done on this one. We've got it done on this one. You can kind of see it right there. And then once I do the buttonhole, we're going to go ahead and run the zigzag quilting across it. Alrighty, so we've got these all finished up. And as you can see, we've got these little, come on, focus. We've got these little holes here. Oop. And I don't have a buttonhole creator on my stitches or on my sewing machine. So it doesn't create that exact clean buttonhole-like stitch. However, I did something very similar to that. I used a zigzag pattern and then I went back and forth on it. And of course, I also did the zigzag quilting. So now the last thing to do is make sure everything fits and put it in the floorboards of the truck. Alrighty, so this is why it is so important to measure everything twice and double check everything. So I'm pretty positive my measurements are correct. However, they're not correct if I have it flipped over to this side, which is the goal that I had. So all I can think of is when I was setting up the measurements for where this little notch was supposed to go, that I put it in the wrong place. I had it flipped the wrong direction just for where the hole needed to go. So obviously that's my bad. So this side has Mario facing up. However, this side has no problem whatsoever. The red side is facing up. It fits the area perfectly, and I made it a little bit longer so it goes up underneath those petals just enough. So, I mean, it fits it perfectly. Like, I measured everything perfectly. It fits like a glove. The hook is exactly where it's supposed to be. Why the other one is not like this one, I will never know. But you know what? It's okay. It's part of learning how to make and create, especially for everyday use. So yeah, I was a little bummed about having the passenger side be the wrong way, but you know, it was a learning process and I'm super happy that I got to share it with you guys. So thanks for joining me and I hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye!